Hey people, thanks for coming back. Today we're just going to talk about the basics of identifying and naming 3D figures. So let's get into it. Here are some common 3D figures. The prism, the pyramid, the cylinder, the cone, and the sphere. What makes them 3D? We can see height, width, and depth. Those are the three dimensions that the human eye can see. All right. So this is three dimensions are what we humans would see in nature. All right. Everything that we can view with our eye has three dimensions. So when we're studying this in geometry, we try to draw figures with three dimensions. They look real. They are not flat two-dimensional drawings. All right, so here we can see the prism is probably the best example of this. We have our height, our width, and our depth. All right, the three dimensions of our prism. All right, let's talk about each of these a little bit individually. We'll start with prisms, which are the most basic. They have two identical bases, and prisms are named after their bases. So here we have 5 different prisms. Okay, now your bases can be any shape. All right, the bases themselves can be any shape, but the other faces of your prism are going to be rectangles. That's just a given. All right, so if we look at this figure right here, here is our base. Okay, not doing a great job coloring it in. We have an identical base over on the other side. It's exactly the same. So if we wanted to name this prism, first we'd identify the shape of the base. This is a pentagon. It has 5 sides. So we would call this a pentangular or a pentagonal prism. All right. So to figure out the name of your prism, look for the shape that's not a rectangle. All right. And then, well, okay, we'll get into that. But anyway, this shape right here, this figure is our base. It's the non-rectangle. It's quadrilateral, but it's not a rectangle. We can see we have 2 that are identical, and the rest are rectangles. So this shape is a trapezoid, so we would call this a trapezoidal prism. And I'm not going to bother spelling it out, but that's a trapezoidal prism. All right, coming down here, this little prism, it's really short and squat. Here is a base. It's the non-rectangle, and there are 2 that are identical. We can see the other one back here. That is a hexagon. It's a 6-sided figure, so this is a hexagonal prism. All right. Here, this should be an easy one. The base of this prism is a triangle. We have 2 of them. So this is a triangular prism. All right, now down here, every face or base of this triangle is a rectangle of some kind. All right, there's no other shape. It's just all rectangles. So this is a rectangular prism, which is the most common and most basic of the prisms. Moving on, pyramids. Pyramids have exactly one base that could be any shape. They are named after their bases, just like the prisms were, and all other sides are triangles that come to a point at the top. So here we have 4 examples of prisms. Once again, we would narrow in on the base, and we would name it based on its base. So, and another important thing to keep in mind is that the base is not always the thing on the bottom. A lot of students go with that rule of thumb that the base has to be on the bottom. Not always. With your prisms, I don't know if you noticed, but sometimes your base is facing sideways. All right, the same could be true of a pyramid. You could knock a pyramid over, and the base would be facing a different direction. It doesn't have to be the thing on the bottom. So you just look for the weird part that's not identical to all the others. So anyway, this pyramid has a triangular base. All right. Now this triangle is not the same as the other triangles in the figure. Okay, this triangle is the base. Technically, well, no, I'm not going to go with that. Anyway, this is a triangular prism. All right, over here, this prism's base is a rectangle. Therefore, it is a rectangular pyramid. A triangular pyramid, rectangular pyramid. The base of this pyramid is a hexagon, so this is a hexagonal pyramid. And then, again, we have another triangular pyramid here. All right. Okay, cylinders, cones, and spheres. A cylinder has two circular bases and kind of looks like a can. A cone has one circular base and a point at the other end, and a sphere is basically just a ball. All right. So here we see examples of each of those. Here's our cone, circular base and a point at the end. Here's our sphere, all right, and here is our cylinder. Okay, that's it for the basics of 3D figures. Thank you.